Heyo guys, Crash Thompson here, and welcome to the commentary of the top 10 favorite nu metal bands episode. Oh god, this introduction. Okay, well, fun fact, I decided to do it like this because this was the very first video we did after Weezer, and god, after Rise and Fall of Weezer, I needed a goddamn break. This whole section right here is just me outlining, okay guys, I'm fucking exhausted. I basically just took a month off and just didn't do anything. I didn't make any videos, I didn't write any scripts, I didn't even listen to a ton of music. I just needed a month to just chill. Like, seriously. Making Rise and Fall of Weezer, as I've said a million times in the past, was a colossal endeavor. And even this video here, the thing is, the whole impetus behind this video was because right after getting done with Weezer, I basically wanted to do another list. Because lists, they're fun, they're easy to write, not so easy to edit, but they are easy to write, and they're fun. Lists are fun videos, you know, from both a watching and a making perspective. I wish I did more lists, honestly, but I figured, well, I've always kind of wanted to do a video like this. I've always wanted to talk about my nu metal roots and whatnot, because when I was a younger kid and when I was mostly in high school and middle school to a lesser extent, nu metal was huge. And, like I said, I fell head over heels for it, and I decided to just kind of... And, I always had this idea for when I did want to tackle this subject. I figured, well, I should do it from the the original idea was to do it from the perspective of a younger me who would actually enjoy this music. Because, like I say, nu metal, some people say it gets a bad rap, and some bands certainly don't deserve the hate they get. But, overall, it's a genre I've grown out of personally for the most part, and some of that stuff has not aged particularly well. But I figured, the best way to tackle this would be from, the perspective of someone who appreciated it. So, hey, we'll just do like a flashback episode or something. That was my original idea. And then I figured, well, no, wait a minute. We should do like a time machine sort of thing so that, I'm always... One of the things about Rock Critic that I've always tried to implement, but not until recently have I really found a way to do it is, well, the thing is, Crash, his Rock Critic character, he's a character that really needs a foil, someone to just take the piss out of him and just kind of, put him in his place from time to time. Lately, I've been able to do that with Lil Diva. Like, a lot of people wonder, why the hell is she there, Crash? Like, what is Lil Diva doing? And Lil Diva's a much longer story, but yeah, I like having Lil Diva as part of my roster because she can take the piss out of him and, knock him down a peg. And this was also a good experience with this, too. Though originally I did kind of have these character roles, sort of reversed in a sense. Well, I was gonna have, past me come to the future, but past me, well, the thing is, in this episode, the dynamic is, present Crash is really whiny and mellow, well, not whiny, but he's very negative, he's very confrontational, he doesn't like, putting up with this. And basically, present Crash is the pisser, while past Crash is the optimist, the one who's trying to make him look on the bright side. Those roles were originally reversed because, again, like I said, I was into this sort of music when I was a teenager and when I was in college, and, I was pretty whiny as a teenager. And in college, like most teenage kids usually are, but I figured, but when I was writing that script, that script seems so hard to flesh out from a character perspective, and it just didn't make much sense thematically, so I switched it up so that, past Crash is actually the more observant, past Crash is the one who has more to teach, present Crash in this situation. It makes more sense to do that narratively. But yeah, another big reason, forgive me, I'm talking over the footage and not even commenting on the footage itself, but a big reason why I wanted to do this too was because I had just recently acquired a green screen, and I had done some chroma keying effects, some chroma keying when I learned how to do like special effects and whatnot, certain green screen footage. But once I got my own green screen, I figured, well, we should use this for something. I bought it, so if we're going to use it, let's go ahead and use it, So, I decided to full blown just do a dual kind of concept here and have, since, oh God, and the way I shot this. Okay, another reason why I wanted to do a commentary on this episode specifically is because people have asked me how I do some of the effects that go on in this episode. I will break it down for you really simply here. Okay, the shots where, like this shot right here, where him and I are sitting on the couch, there are basically 3 layers going on here. The background, what you see, like the room, that is not a camera shot. That is actually just a still image of my shooting space that I was using at the time. It's literally just a still image. Like if you notice, thankfully I think I did an okay job masking that fact. But no, it's literally just a still image. But yeah, if you notice, even when we move around and stuff, the couch never shifts. The shadow on the coat in the background never does any movement with us or anything. It is literally just a still shot. But with what I was doing here, it was thankfully pretty easy to maneuver around. That was basically our background layer. Layers 2 and 3 are me on a green screen as present Crash and past Crash on another green screen layer. So, basically it's I basically just have a little IKEA table that I sat down on. It was about the height of my little love seat there, and yeah, I just sat on that. Tried my best to hide it out of the shot. That's why it's shot from the waist up. If you'd seen my legs, you would have seen the table I was sitting on in lieu of the couch. Oh, this scene. God, that was crazy hard to shoot. Okay, that's one of the biggest things. Crash, how the hell did you film yourself punching yourself? How did you do that? Okay. I did that basically, I did a weird workaround. What I did was, shooting this episode, I basically shot all of present Crash first, because present Crash was, basically, that was how I looked like at the time. So that was, the easiest stuff to shoot. But in order to make past Crash distinctive from present Crash, I, of course, dyed my hair and shaved my beard. So I shot all of present Crash first. Then, once all of his stuff was done in the script, I shaved my beard and shot all of past Crash's scenes, and then edited everything together. But how I punched myself was, well, the thing is, when I shot all of present Crash's scenes, what I basically did was I uploaded a version of the entire video, without any of present Crash's scenes in it. I uploaded it to a private channel that you guys don't know about. Don't go looking for it. It doesn't have anything on it. But I uploaded it to a private channel, and I took my laptop with me into the shooting space, and I would play those scenes in very, very, very low volume, as low as I could possibly get it without the camera picking it up. And then while I was shooting past Crash's scenes, present Crash would be playing in the background, so I would have direction as to what was going on in the scene. So, when Crash is about to do that, I would, when he says that line, they both have new, etc. I would actually see my character's, present Crash doing what he was doing, and I would know when to react and when to, nod my head and do everything. So that was basically how I did a lot of the back and forth, sort of work, like like the singing melodies that we do later on. That's kind of how we did it. Literally, like while Past Crash is here, like I'm literally watching myself, my present crash scenes. I'm literally just watching them on my laptop so that I can kind of work around things. And it did the trick for a lot of the heavy lifting, though. Again, I also, in writing and shooting that, I also, while I was acting as present Crash, I had to, like, account for, what past Crash was going to say and how he was going to react. I had to, like, give him time and actually, like, sort of give him space for when, so we could have, like, a back and forth. And that was really hard because, I mean, basically what I did was oh, fucking hell. Oh, God, that turned out. Oh, I don't even want to think about that. Yeah, still, fuck you, Pence. Anyway, but yeah, like, I would basically, what I would do is I would basically, I would say my present Crash line. While I was shooting present Crash, I would shoot my present Crash lines, and then I would literally just hum the past Crash's words while I was sitting there without opening my mouth. I would just be like, well, what do you mean such and such is like that? Well, that's stupid. That's kind of how it worked. I would like just hum past Crash's lines and then either like take them out in editing if they got picked up by the mic or just, hope they didn't pick up. Again, it's one of those things no one has picked up on. So I'm assuming they've pretty much 99% cleared past, so yeah, that was how I did a lot of the shooting on this. But yeah, like I said, it was kind of a pain because with my setup, rendering footage took forever, and oh god, rendering green screen in my old setup, holy shit, like this video. Like, even in my present setup, green screening does kind of take a while to actually render for whatever reason. I just don't have the most powerful desktop setup. It's one of the reasons why I had to discontinue the Unscripted series, because that show was basically done all green screen, and they just took forever to, render, just because, I don't know, green screen footage. But yeah, working with this many layers of green screen, yeah, it did take forever to, like, get everything rendered, get everything uploaded, and, to get all my workarounds kind of hustle-bustled and whatnot. But, yeah, it took a lot of work, but we were able to make it happen. Like I said, I got that green screen, and I went to the trouble to buy it. Like, I got, like, green screens, some, like, actual professional lighting. Like, oh god, I didn't even realize, like, all these years I thought I just had shitty taste in cameras. I wasn't lighting my scenes for shit. I wasn't lighting my set worth a goddamn, so of course, my past quality looked like shit. God, probably could have saved myself a lot of money back in the days if I just bought, like, 1 or 2 stage lights. But yeah, forgive me, I'm so focused on the technical side of things. That's where I've gotten a lot of the questions regarding this episode, It is a weird little concept, but oh god, yeah. Yeah, see, that's the weird thing about Finger 11 for me. Like, I got onto Finger 11 around Grayest of Blue Skies, and, like, they were huge. They weren't huge in Canada, but they were big in Canada. They got a lot of much music rotation and whatnot. Like, as they started to break across the states, it was like, oh yeah, I know them. They're this cool Canadian band, Finger 11 was one of my first big, oh yeah, I've heard of them before you, kind of hipstery bullshitty, kind of hipstery, oh, you should have heard their old stuff kind of moment that I had as a kid. Finger 11 was one of those bands that I'd heard of way before everyone else, and I don't know what it is about that, but you always feel weirdly proud when you've heard of a band before they get super big. It's nothing to be proud of, it's nothing to really give a fuck about, but so many people get into that, I don't know. Oh, Incubus here, yeah. Man, for all the controversy some of my choices here had, yeah, Incubus was a really, really controversial one because, for every... Because I put them in the honorable mentions list, and you know what? God damn it, I was right to do so. Because I have gotten shouty, angry comments saying, "Of course Incubus belongs in nu metal. Why aren't they there? There should be number one. What's your problem?" And I've got equally angry comments saying, "What the fuck is Incubus doing here? Incubus isn't nu metal. Not even close to nu metal. You know what you're talking about." So, you know what? I was right. I was motherfucking right to put them on the honorable mentions list, because... Yeah, I mean, Incubus is one of those bands, they have changed their sound up a great deal over the years, like, I'd almost say that no two Incubus albums sound alike, but, I don't know, again, that's debatable. Incubus is a very debatable band, except when it comes to 8. That was disappointing. Now I'll get like a million comments saying why 8 was great. Nah, but okay. Oh, yeah. Now we're into the list proper. Yeah, P.O.D. Yeah. See, I am one of those... P.O.D. is a band that has a lot of faults. A lot of problems. And it is a band that does feel kind of cheesy and lame. Like, they're one of those bands that maybe hasn't aged terribly well. I don't know. Fundamental Elements of Southtown is still a fucking phenomenal album. Like, regardless of, regardless of anything else you want to say about P.O.D., Fundamental Elements of Southtown is worth picking up. It is, like, I was actually listening to that a few months back just for shits and giggles. Again, just to see if it still held up. And man, I don't know if it holds up from a modern sense, but I still love the hell out of that album. And oh god, Snuff the Punk's artwork. Oh. Yeah, anything prior to Fundamental Elements, you can go ahead and skip, because... Yeah, see what I mean? Like, stuff like this. Like, P.O.D... it can be weird to talk about them. But yeah, P.O.D., like... I feel like they don't quite get the love they deserve, but I understand wholeheartedly why people aren't into it, I get it. I totally get it. And even I would still have to admit that P.O.D. is like a guilty pleasure. Like, even I would probably consider it, it's not something I would just immediately scream from the hilltops about. But, P.O.D., they had some goddamn good stuff, even stuff like Satellite and, Testify. Testify was a great album that got, like, no attention. But, I mean, that album came out around the time when, P.O.D. was kind of on the wane in that sense. Nu metal in general was on the wane, so... Yeah, Testify was another great album that didn't get the love it deserved, but... Yeah, see, I may do, like, an I Love This song on Southtown, just because I fucking love that song so much. It's so simple, but so crazy powerful. Like, this was before I'd even had that idea, so I also wanted to do this episode because, well, this is a good way for me to talk about a lot of bands in, a lot of smaller bands that might not, be able to do like I might not be able to do a full length on. This would be a good chance for me to cover a lot of things in a smaller scope. And, I mean, the number one question I get pretty much from anyone, especially whenever I do, like, live streams or, like, probably every other day on Twitter I get is, "Oh, hey, what are your thoughts on band? What are your thoughts on this? On this band, on this band?" And, that's the problem with my format, unless I'm talking about, unless they've released an album and they've done a quickie, then unless they've done a quickie or, they're part of the, they can get themselves into the huge rotation of my full-length schedule. It's hard for me to, go at length about a lot of bands, if only because, I either don't have a full length to talk about, or they don't have, an album I can do a quickie on, if they're not releasing anything for that present year. So, like, that's another thing. I've been considering the idea of doing more list type videos. Again, I just don't. Again, I always worry about lists because I don't want to turn the channel into Watch Mojo or anything like that. No offense to Watch Mojo or anything, but I mean, for fuck's sake, it's not why a lot of people come to this channel, I would assume. But I would like to cover, more bands that, of course, that I don't have, the time to really talk about at great length. So, yeah, this was a great way to kind of knock that out and sort of, deep outline my sort of new metal roots, and this also gave me a chance, because I was so entrenched in the scene, that it gave me a chance to really bring out a lot of bands that really deserved way more talking about. There were a decent amount of bands that kind of got, fucking Newsboy. I hate this fucking song. This song in question, some people aren't familiar with. Excuse me. Ugh. I should edit that out. I might not. Yeah, that song is called Breakfast. It's by the Newsboys. It's a really old Newsboys song. And I might do an I hate this song about it because it's the cheesiest goddamn fucking thing in the world. And it's 90s Christian. It's bad even by 90s Christian media standards. And 90s Christian media standards, that was the shit that gave us fucking Bible Man. That was the shit that gave us fucking McGee and Me. It's bad even compared to those standards, people. So, fucking Newsboys. I can't stand them. So here's the anti-Newsboys, Disturbed. Yeah. God, am I the only one? Okay, when I was like in middle school, I was convinced that Dave Draymond's piercings there went all the way up through his chin. Was I the only kid stupid enough to believe that? Yeah. Like I've said, I was a stupid kid. The portrayal of past Crash as being, kind of level-headed and a bit more cool, a bit like kind of wiser and more sort of, compared to present Crash, no. I was a really stupid kid. I'm sorry. But anyway, yeah, Disturbed. Disturbed still doing pretty well for themselves. I mean, you gotta give them credit. They are one of the bands that, even if it's debatable whether they should have survived, well, they still did. Oh, At the Drive. God, this joke just keeps getting more dated and dated, especially since Inter Alia came out. But I don't know, guys. Like I said, back in the day, like that At the Drive-In reunion just did not seem plausible, at all. I remember, God, while I was doing my my Inter Alia quickie, I wanted to find a lot of the old articles, concerning their original breakup and how things kind of went. And I remember reading stuff about it saying that, yeah, it was kind of ugly. Like, the guys were not getting along, and Cedric and Omar, those dudes are just so, they're so, I don't want to say bizarre, but they are so just, they do their own thing. They've got their own musical philosophy, they've got their own style, and they are committed to it, whatever the bloody hell it might be. So yeah, I mean, they're strong personalities, so it. And when things in the band got kind of chaotic, and they just were bored with making that kind of music, we figured, okay, well, that's it. I mean, when Cedric and Omar went to make the Mars fucking Volta right after this, it was like, okay, yeah, there is no bloody way we're ever getting a good old-fashioned At the Drive-In, emo-ish, screamo-ish post, thing. There's no way we're ever going to get that. So, yeah. The coughing fit here was the coughing fit here was fake. But I still can't really do the ooh ah 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 thing. It's, I don't know, man. You gotta have a really gore shredding kind of voice. You've gotta have a metal voice in order to do that properly, and I do not. I never have. I can sing pretty, but I can't shout worth a damn. Oh, Mudvayne, yeah. I got some flack for this, because Mudvayne is one of those bands that has aged way, I mean, you want to talk about Disturbed potentially aging poorly? Oh no, Mudvayne. And again, it's because the fucking makeup and the fucking weird, all the makeup and all the gimmicks and the thing is, their first album, LD50, is a fucking head trip. It's not at all what you would expect. If you've heard, like, later Mudvayne, like, oh, God, I can't remember Mudvayne, like the one with the boy in the tornado, or even the one that came right before that, Lost and Found. Oh, well, that works out well. God. Well, but yeah, LD50 compared to their later stuff was it was so bizarre, and it went into all these, like it wasn't a 4/4 basic ass rock album. It was almost kind of jazz inspired in some weird ways. Like, it was big on these tempo shifts and these, all these weirdly complicated sort of bass rhythms, and it was really way more it was really way more complicated than it had any goddamn right to be. But I mean, Mudvayne, they wanted to sell more records, and they were starting to break big. But if they'd stayed kind of obtuse, they wouldn't have never. I can understand why they did it, but it is kind of a shame because there was some real musical chops in Mudvayne. Their bassist and their drummer, fucking stellar. Again, the guitarist and Chad, I think Chad? Is it Chad Gray? I'm sorry, I'm spacing it. But yeah, they had some legit, Chad and Gray were never that great. Well, Chad's a good screamer, I'll give him that. Can't sing worth a damn though, but yeah, when their guitarist and, Chad, when they went to Hell Yeah, I don't know, I got a few, whenever when I brought up Mudvayne initially, I would say, oh, well then what do you think of Hell Yeah? Well, it's like the worst part of Mudvayne and the worst part of Pantera together, so I can't get excited about it, but yeah, Mudvayne, in their prime. Well, not even necessarily in their prime, but their first couple of albums are totally worth checking out. Even if, you're one of if you're like new metal, no, it's worth investigating. It's worth looking under the rock to see if you don't find something you like, especially with LD50. I have a weird place in my heart for that album. But yeah, Mudvayne is, yeah, speaking of Hell Yeah, that is a weird thing. Like, back in the day, it's like back in the day, if you'd have told us that was what was going to happen to this band, yeah, that would have been really hilarious. What do you mean? Fucking Pantera? They're going to do Southern rock shit? No way. The dudes who do LD50? Fuck off. Oh, I don't know if any of you caught that, but in that little cascade of negative comments there, you'll notice one of them said, no Linkin Park or Korn? That's bullshit. Or something. But yeah, guys, there's a reason for that. Okay, and I'll say right off the bat, Slipknot should be higher. I totally should have put Slipknot higher. I'm sorry, for this list, I kind of wanted to focus on more on the bands that people hadn't really heard of, or that deserved more love. See, Slipknot gets all the love in the damn world. So I kind of figured, okay, Slipknot's an obvious choice. Let's, they don't, but I feel like I should have put them a little higher. I don't know who I would have replaced them with, but yeah, Slipknot, I probably would have put them over Taproot at least. But yeah, anyway. Yeah, I didn't put Linkin Park or Korn on this because as I was listening to a lot of those old bands for research, well, for one thing, I've never liked Korn. Guys, I'm sorry, but even when Korn was at their height, even when it was cool to like Korn, I didn't like Korn that much. It's just, that clicky clacky bass, and Jonathan's vocals are just, I don't like the way he sort of delivers vocals when he's not screaming. It's weird. I never really, and even when he's screaming, it's like, I don't know. I got problems with Korn, guys. I mean, I get why people love them. I'm not saying they, don't deserve I'm not saying they don't deserve the props they've gotten over the years, but God, I just have no fucking fun listening to Korn, so I didn't put them on the list, because it's my goddamn list, and I can do what I want on the videos. I'm sorry, I don't like Korn. And, Linkin Park, that's the thing, when I was listening to Hybrid Theory and Meteora and their older nu metal stuff, I did like it, but the biggest thing I couldn't help but, think to myself while I was listening to it was, holy shit, this is dated. Like, holy fucking hell, this is dated as all hell. And especially given what we're experiencing with Linkin Park right now, I won't name any names. One more light. It's really got me reassessing my opinion on Linkin Park in general, like as a band. Like, it's starting... I might mention this in my worst of the year list, but it's starting to make me wonder if Linkin Park is even really a decent band at all. Maybe we've been giving them too much credit, people. God, I'm gonna get comments on saying that. But, it comes back to why I didn't put them on this list, because while I was listening to all that old Linkin Park, all I could think was, yeah, this is so dated. This is so just... indicative of its time, you know, and not in a good way, you know. It's, you know, when I listen to it, it's like really just, it's sort of the stereotype. When when someone says nu metal, probably the first image that pops into your head is, you know, Chester Bennington clutching his chest and going, crawling in my skin, you know. Which, you know, can be enjoyable. Like, I'm not saying I don't enjoy, you know, Hybrid Theory and Meteora. Yeah, like, those are, like, they're still decent albums, especially Meteora. Meteora has held up much better than I think people like to give it credit for, but, yeah, man, it's still just, it's hard to listen to those old albums and not just kind of cringe a little. Like, I don't know, that's my reaction at least, like, so that's why I didn't put them on here. I just couldn't help, you know. Well, the thing is, with a band that if I was gonna put a band like that on there that was, you know, that reminded me of sort of nu metal cringe, I was gonna at least put one on there that did something a little different, that did something a little unique, and that's part of the reason why Taproot is on the list here. Actually, I think for this number 6 spot, I think I literally was torn between putting Taproot or Linkin Park here. But I put Taproot here because, again, I wanted to focus on the bands that, you know, didn't get the love they deserved. And, yeah, Taproot, like, especially, like, Blue Sky Research and, fuck, it was just on the screen. Oh, god damn it. Well, the previous one, the one that came before Blue Sky Research, god, I am gonna kick myself for not remembering that, especially since it was just on the damn screen. I'm an idiot. But yeah, Taproot's second and third albums really knocked it out of the park. Again, they were way better than they had any right to be. But, this part. Yep, again, with the singing, like I mentioned, basically I filmed all of Present Crash first. I filmed all of Present Crash. I'm sorry, I love that part. That was fun as hell to shoot. And a bitch to get timed right, too. Again, because like I said, I'm watching myself as past Crash on the, I'm watching myself as present Crash while dressed as past Crash and just trying to get my moves synchronized and, yeah, but, Taproot deserved way more love. And Deftones, yeah, again, like I said in my Gore review, I should have put these guys higher on the list too. Hell, these guys should have been at least in the top 3. But yeah, Deftones, oof. Yeah. Another thing I should mention about the filming of my live action bits, I did try to get on this point, but I got distracted, like I do. But I wanted to illustrate that, like, sometimes while I was filming as past Crash, you know, and watching present Crash to try and get my movements synchronized, when I went in to edit past Crash's scenes into the final footage, it wasn't always perfect. Like, I had sometimes mistimed some things, I came in too early or came in too late. For those segments, I would usually, or, you know, even as past Crash, I would fuck things up too. For those segments where the timing isn't right, if you watch, God, I wish I had exact timestamps, because in some places it's really noticeable if you're paying attention to it. But in some moments, I literally just if I came in too early, what I would do is I would literally slow down Present Crash's movement. I would literally just slow him down to like a slow-mo crawl and just sort of sync it to where he would come in eventually. Or if I came in like way too late, I would like pick a moment where I was very still and just chop out as much of the footage as I could to get him, to get him back to where he needed to be. Or occasionally I would even speed up the footage. It was a bit of a it was weirdly complicated. It was, it was tricky to pull off effectively, or at least, effective enough to where it wasn't glaringly terrible. Oh God. Like, God, when I'm bending over there, you can really see I'm starting to go bald. Like, the reason the Rock Critic wore, like, I didn't originally don the hat to hide a bald spot, but as I've gotten older, yeah, it's not bad yet. It's still, I can still, it's only noticeable, like, it's only fairly noticeable if you're looking for it, or if I point it out, but I don't know, guys, what can I say? I'm getting old. And Hurt. Oh my God, Hurt. See, that was another thing that complicated things. Hurt was one of those bands I just had to fucking tell you guys about, because Hurt was so goddamn good. I still love the fuck out of Hurt to this goddamn day. And, God, like, I wanted to tell you guys about Hurt. Like, me wanting to talk about Hurt was basically one of the biggest reasons a video like this even exists, this band was so good, and no one was fucking paying attention to them. Even at the time, no one was really paying attention to them, like, people were getting really sick of nu metal, and Hurt's music was very sad, very bleak, very just soul-crushing, and back in the day, a lot of people just, they wrote it off as, oh, wah, nu metal, I have problems, bullshit. And, yeah, it wasn't quite that, especially, God, like, here, like, Alone with the Sea. God, Alone with the Sea is like fucking, it's like a fucking sad Hemingway story put to song. It's fucking gorgeous. But, yeah, again, like bands like Hurt, like Taproot, when the fuck am I gonna get a chance to talk about them except in a video like this, Like Hurt, I almost wanted to do a full episode on Hurt, but even then, I would really only cover, Mumford & Sons. That band's pretty much over, right? I mean, I heard they're still kicking around, and I heard from people that care more than I do that their last EP was actually semi-decent. Apparently they mixed in a lot of, like, African music and, like, other sort of around the world type stuff. But, yeah, Mumford & Sons, God, I have always stood my ground that Mumford & Sons was just a fucking awful band. And, back in the day, I got a lot of shit for it, because my friends, the people who I was hanging out with, at least back when Mumford was breaking, they gave me so much shit, because Mumford was the hot shit, and I was friends with a lot of hipsters back in the day, so, yeah, Mumford was their fucking bread and butter, and I was like, guys, this is not that interesting, this is not that complicated, it's not that cool, it's just dust bowl shit. But no, but time, I don't know, I feel weirdly vindicated on Mumford & Sons, because now nobody cares about Mumford & Sons, and is like, I fucking told you! Nah, I'm sorry, that should have been talking about Hurt this whole time. Fucking Mumford & Sons, that's what Mumford & Sons does. Oh, number 3, Perfect Circle. Got a lot of shit for this choice, and, I don't know if I'd wholeheartedly disagree with some of it, because again, A Perfect Circle, they're like Incubus. Do they count as nu metal? Like, probably not, but I don't know, guys, they played on every nu metal station. Like any station that would play nu metal or anything, nu metal, post-grunge, anything at all like that. Yeah, A Perfect Circle was heavy on that rotation. X103 and 98.9 The Bear, here in Indianapolis at least, played them constantly. I heard The Outsider probably 3 or 4 times a day. And the thing is, as much as they played A Perfect Circle, I never ever got tired of it, which is just a testament to how fucking good the music is, you know? Even when the radio tries to spoil the music for you and they don't, when the music is that good that the radio can't even kill it, it's pretty good. Oh, Velvet Revolver. Oh, man. I mean, now that Scott Stapp's passed, and fuck the damn Yankees. Fuck Ted Nugent. I'm sorry, but the damn Yankees were terrible. Again, another reason for you people to shout at me in the comments, but yes. Yeah, that pretty much sums it up right there. No, but the damn Yankees were bad regardless of Nugent's involvement. But, yeah. Velvet Revolver, man. Now that Scott Weiland's passed, that's kind of sad to think about. I mean, Velvet Revolver, there's probably a band I could talk about in some length someday. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, A Perfect Circle. Really more I'm kind of surprised that Billy Howardell doesn't get quite the love he deserves for this project. His solo project, Ashes Divide, is also pretty good. Oh yeah. I'm pretty positive I actually think I had the Emotive DVD back in the day it not only had most of, I think all, if not most of their music videos, and they had commentary on every one too, which was really super cool. But yeah, I had that DVD, and I'm almost positive they mentioned in that DVD for Judith that was actually a studio effect. You know, they just took 2 takes and kind of molded them together to make that effect. But I've seen people do it. I've done it myself. I've gone the whole 13 seconds. Oh god, that Covers album. As much as I love A Perfect Circle, and guys, make no mistake, I love A Perfect Circle, they shouldn't have done the Covers album. It's just, that album should have turned, they shouldn't have focused on that. That was a bad idea. But yeah, I've seen people do that, and it's not impossible by any means, but holy fuck, you will wear yourself out doing it. Like, every time I've been able to successfully hit the full mark on singing the last note of Judith, every time I've done it, I've been super crazy lightheaded, close to fainting. Hell, if I attempted it today, I might just full-blown faint. But yeah, oh god, and The Outside. You know, I love A Perfect Circle, and A Perfect Circle is also just one of those bands that screamed side project. You could just tell, the rotating lineup and the stuff they did in their videos, only a side project or the biggest fucking band in the world could get away with something like that. But yeah, no, The Outsider and Thinking of You with their specific videos. But yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, oh, God. Tool. Yep. And even today, it still hasn't come out yet. What the fuck indeed, Past Crash. God, we haven't even heard anything, really, in regards to Decem, if that's what they're going to call it. But yeah. God, will they ever release that album? Ugh. Yes, and speaking of a band that hasn't released an album in a while, although this one seems a bit more likely on the horizon. A bit. I mean, knock on wood. Oh, another punch. Yeah. Yeah, again, this one was hard to take too. This one was hard to shoot too, because again, not only is it a punch, not only is it an action, but there's dialogue right after it. So I had to punch, I had to wait I had to count down like 3 seconds or so in my head, and then hum out past Crash's lines, and then respond to them, and then get everything synced up as past Crash to... Oh god, yeah. This had some really hard stuff to shoot. Okay, I have gotten so many comments about that line in particular, the pogo thing. About how it's actually... about how the song is actually about an orgy. Here's the thing. I promise you, I 100% promise you, I read an article back in the day. Oh god. Hang on. I'm sorry, but that is my favorite fucking part of the video. I loved. Like, that was probably the hardest thing to shoot right there. Because not only am I singing along with myself, I'm singing along with myself at a very difficult to record situation, and I have to sing harmonies too. So, man, that was tricky. That was so goddamn tricky to pull off, but yeah, I loved how that turned out. When I finally put those two clips together and they sounded as passable as they did, I really liked that. Plus, God, Chop Suey is such a fun song to sing if you know how to sing it properly. The problem is, most people don't. That Avril Lavigne cover is, I'm just saying, that is a perfect testament to how most people just do not know how to sing that song properly. But yeah, no, God, I loved those. Just that song has just perfect vocal harmonization, and a lot of System of a Down stuff is really good with that. But anyway, sorry, Pogo. Back in the day, back when that album was released, I swear, I had an article. Like, I had the magazine that had that article in it. I think it was a Metal Hammer or a... Even though I looked on Metal Hammer's archives and never found it, but it was either that or like maybe a Blender, or it was one of the old music mags from back in the day. It may have been one of the metal specific mags where they interviewed Shavo and Darren, I believe. And they said specifically, they were asking them what, the topic was, your songs have really weird meanings. What are some of those songs about? And they mention specifically that Pogo was just about a pogo stick. I don't have the article. I searched like goddamn crazy to see if it had been posted online anywhere. Granted, this was in a print mag, so I don't know if they ever translated it online. But I swear to God, back in the day, I read an article that said, yeah, it's just a goofy little song we wrote about a pogo stick. We didn't have any other meaning behind it. We just wrote some goofy lyric. We had this fast, crunchy little da-da-da-da-da-da-da beat, so we just figured, okay, pogo stick. And yeah, I swear to God it exists, because I totally used to have it, but again, I can't find that article or any other article that will back me up on that. So I don't know, maybe it is about an orgy and they were just fucking with that reporter. To be fair, I haven't found too many articles from the band themselves, at least, suggesting that it is about an orgy. But I don't know, it could be. It's not, it's... honestly, I probably shouldn't have put that part in the video, since it is unverified, but guys, I swear to God, I swear to Christ, I had that proof. A long time back in the day, I totally had proof for that. I just wish I'd held on to it. My God, if I had only held on to it. Oh, we need to move on to this section, Rage Against the Machine. Yeah, again, this was so hard in making this list, because I realized... once I got to Rage Against the Machine, I was like, okay, I'm at a weird dilemma here. If Rage Against the Machine counts, then they're the best. There's no contest. There isn't even any contest. Like, if Rage Against the Machine can count as nu metal in any sort of definition or scope, yeah, they're as good as it gets. because they're Rage Against the goddamn Machine. You know, I don't even have to go into too much detail about it. Rage Against the Machine is as good as rap and rock ever really blended together. Like, Rage was pretty much the high point for those two genres when those two genres crossed over. Like, it's never been done better than Rage, in my opinion. I'm sure that's a very debatable topic, but yeah, Rage. Ugh. That was my dilemma. If Rage counts, then they have to get number one. But if they don't, well, then what do you classify them as? You know, see, it's a weird situation, you know, because, well, if they don't count, well, then if I hadn't put them in at all, you better believe I would have gotten comments. Oh, what about Rage Against the Machine? Maybe even more so than Linkin Park or Korn. Like, where the hell is Rage? They were nu metal. So if I'd left them out entirely, or even put them as an honorable mention, it did not feel right. I considered that. I considered making them an honorable mention, but it did not feel right. Like, these guys, like, the reason nu metal even existed is because, you know, Rage Against the Machine made it okay for those genres to clash, for those genres to bump against each other. Rage basically opened the floodgates for nu metal to happen. There were so many bands that, you know, just basically did a crappy that were just crappy knockoffs of Rage Against the Machine, or were trying to do what Rage was doing, you know, only in a different way, you know. Like, even bands like Korn and Linkin Park owe a whole hell of a lot to Rage Against the Machine. There's no way those bands would have existed, at least the way they did, without Rage there to, you know, start things off. So, you know, I agree, guys. See, that's part of the reason why the video ends the way it does. You know, Present Crash never agrees with Past Crash that Rage Against the Machine belongs on the list. If you notice that, yeah, they never agree. And I did that intentionally because, yeah, it's debatable. I even say at the very end, guys, I'll let you debate that out in the comments, whether or not that deserves to be there or not. But yeah, I did that. Yeah, that was an intentional thing I did because, yeah, even to this day, I don't know. Like, you could make a very solid case for, you could make a very solid case against. So that was my way of leaving the decision open. You know, that was my way of, okay, well, Past Crash pretty much is a confirmed yes. Present Crash is a confirmed no. I don't know, I'll let you guys talk it out in the comments, but yeah, this part where we go in depth on, on what nu metal has done. See, that's the thing, between nu metal and post-grunge, yeah, like, I think one of the biggest problems in rock, and at least over the last few years or so, is rock kind of had no idea what to do once post-grunge and nu metal, once those genres dissolved, rock kind of didn't know what to do with itself. It still kind of doesn't know what to do with itself. I mean, you know, garage rock bands kind of broke out, you know, stuff like the White Stripes and the Strokes started happening. Emo sort of came and went during this time, but it didn't last. I don't think it lasted as long as people thought it was going to last. Cold. There's a band. There's a band I considered giving an honorable mention to, but yeah, you know, a lot of their stuff is just. They do have a song written by Rivers Cuomo, of all things. That was how I originally got into the band, actually. I heard Stupid Girl was written by Rivers Cuomo, and guys, it sounds like a song written by Rivers Cuomo. It's a weird ass song, because Cold, you know, they were one of the sad metal bands, you know, they were one of the, you know, I have problems, oh no, my problems, oh, you know, they were sad, they were mopey, you could say they were super melodramatic, but, yeah, to hear Rivers Cuomo's doofy, Stupid Girl lyrics coming out of that dude's mouth, man, that was a weird juxtaposition. It makes for a quirky, cool little song. I do kind of like Stupid Girl. And yeah, this is, Yeah, this was my other point, for all the damage you could say nu metal and post-grunge have done to rock, it's, at the end of the day, it is a matter of, well, so what? Rock will just evolve. Rock will just change. Rock will just adapt. And, even these days, rock is doing that. It is, I mean, a lot of, people, I hear all the time, oh, God, rock is dying. Rock is on... rock is, God, will there even be rock and roll in 10 years or whatever? And I'm like, and my opinion is, of course there will. Yes, of course there will be rock. The rock isn't going away. There will always be a desire for heavy, aggressive sort of, music that appeals to a younger audience or to, there will always be loud music that appeals to the disenfranchised. It's always going to be there. Rock will always exist. It's just, guys, it's going to change. It's going to take on different forms. It's going to, it's going to change in ways that might not even appeal to you forever. It's going to change in ways that aren't even going to appeal to me further down the line. I'm positive, but that doesn't mean it's going to go away. Rock will never die. As cheesy of a phrase as that may be, I'm convinced that rock is never going to die, but it's going to change a lot. Like, the definition of rock is going to, it's going to adapt with the times, and it's going to adapt with what's happening in the world and with what's happening, with people. Because at the end of the day, I mean, rock is a product of people, and people are always changing. People never stay the same. And rock is going to be the same way. I mean, if nothing else, the thing is, I know rock is going to survive forever because metal is going to survive forever. And if metal, nothing is going to kill metal. And, if metal can survive, guys, you better believe rock can survive. So that's not a comment on either genre, necessarily. I don't want that to sound a certain way. No, I don't mean that metal is, lesser, of course it'll survive. No, metal's great. And rock is great, but yeah, the fact that metal, because that's the thing, metal was another one of those genres everyone said, oh God, I can't wait till this is over. But yeah, dude, we're still at least 50 years into metal, and yeah, it has not... Well, to be fair, probably closer to... Yeah, no, we're about 50 years into metal. Yeah, we're about 60-ish, 70-ish. Well, again, depending, very, very big, depending on your definition of when rock started. Yeah, we're about 60-ish, 70-ish years into rock. We're about 50-ish years into metal. I don't know, guys. I wouldn't worry. Even with everything going on in the music industry right now, I wouldn't worry about it. And I don't know, that's my basic general sort of conclusion here, just, past Crash, just, reminding him that, and also reminding him that, hey, because, even today I do have my guilty pleasures, and I do sort of feel bad about, oh God, I really used to like stuff like Stained and, like Union Underground and that stuff. But, this was also my general message that, guys, yeah, you liked it, and you don't like it anymore, okay, that happens. But that's not the end of the world, I mean, hey, we all, again, people change. We all change. We're not, at least I hope to God you're not the same person you were 10, 15 years ago, So, yeah, and it's not the end of the world, Like, yeah, you might look back on some of the stuff you used to like and cringe a wee bit, but the thing is, listening to nu metal bands and listening to stuff like this was what helped me move on to other stuff. It was what helped me get interested in, more complex metal and more complicated rock and more interesting music. Like, we all have to have a jumping off point. We all have to have a point where we start, or where we really begin to, become cultivated in the things we like. And for me, yeah, nu metal was kind of my training grounds. Between nu metal and, stuff like the grunge and the pop punk of my very early years, yeah, nu metal, this was a genre that helped me expand. This was the starting footstep in a very much longer, more complicated journey, And And yeah, and I do poke fun at new metal bands, even the bands that are still going today, like I'll make fun of Seether all the damn time. Well, because Seether was my favorite fucking band back when I was listening to new metal. I was head over heels for Disclaimer. Well, Disclaimer 2 more specifically, but yeah, I fucking loved the shit out of Seether, and even back, I look back on that and I'm like, oh, dude, Seether, really? But it's whatever. It's not a big deal. And hell, I went back and listened to Disclaimer 2 about a week ago just to see. Well, Seether released their new album. It's whatever. It's another Seether album. I don't have much to say about it apart from that. But Disclaimer 2, I had some fond, nostalgic memories listening to that album. It's not too bad. Not something I'd recommend every single person listen to. But, it's got its moments. It's got cool stuff about it. And this part. Yeah. This ending. Okay. Hey, dude, no worries. I got it right. Yep. Oh, that... fun fact, for those of you that don't already know, that is my dad. That is my dad. He, again, he's green screened. What I basically did is, I drove down to the city my parents live in when I first bought my green screen, and I actually took the whole green screen setup, took it down to where they were living, and asked my dad, hey, I hate to ask this. God, I was so scared too. I was like, Dad, I hate to ask this because my parents know about my videos. But they know about it. They know about them. They like that I do this and they like that I enjoy it so much. And they're supportive, but they aren't fond of the language I use, and they don't watch my videos regularly or anything, and they don't, well, they're very straight-laced, they're very conservative, just very, and I use the word goddamn like a comma, so so it's not their cup of tea. They flat out told me, like, we like that you love this so much, and we really appreciate this, but it's not something we can enjoy ourselves. They're as gracious as I would expect them to be about it. They're more than gracious than I would expect them to be about it. I'm glad I have their support in that regards, but yeah, I asked my dad, and I was so nervous to do it too, because, this show is not their thing. But I asked him, hey, Dad, I have this one little bit that you could really help me out with. And no, he was super cool about it. We set up the green screen in my parents' house, and I just, shot him, acting, I just shot him saying, oh, your hat's stupid. Because by this time, guys, I was sick of the goddamn hat, too. Ugh. God, I should not have held on to it for so long. Pro tip to those of you who want to make videos like these and want to get into the scene, don't sweat the small stuff. That was basically the reason the hat stayed as a part of my character for so long. I figured, well, it's part of the character, I can't just up and change that. No, you can. No, you totally can. Don't sweat the small stuff because you'll regret it later, Oh, I wish I had gotten rid of that hat ages ago. But anyway, yeah, my dad was super cool. He was super, he had fun with it, the whole idiots and waving his hands towards the camera. That was his idea. That was his little ad lib. That was his line. That was his little contribution to it there. And yeah, and like I said, we shot him with a green screen, and the shot where it's over my shoulder, or over his I guess that does work, doesn't it? The shot where it's over his shoulder and he's knocking the hat off my head, that was actually my buddy Zach. Again, I had my dad, I was able to get the shot, I was able to drive down and get the shot, but he wasn't able to come to me, obviously he wasn't able to come to me, to shoot it live and in person, so I just had my buddy stand as a body double, for that shot, and yeah, we had that little blooper. I don't often save my mistakes and my bloopers and whatnot, usually because they're not funny. It's usually me just flubbing lines and just, I wish I had funnier bloopers, but I don't know. I'm just not that interesting, I guess. But yeah, he shot the line, and we had that little, that was like one of the very last things, well, that was one of the very last things I shot as past Crash. So, so instead of like, cutting it out or leaving it on the chopping block, I thought, well, okay, that's actually a little funny. Yeah, let's throw that at the very end. Why the hell not? Okay, guys, so yeah, thank you for tuning in to this commentary on the top 10 new metal videos. Guys, let me know if you enjoy these commentaries. I can go back and do some of my other work. I would love to do Rise and Fall of Weezer commentary someday. Again, that's probably a bit of an undertaking, but let me know if you like these, and maybe that's something we can do in the future. I would love to do Raphael commentaries at some point, but yeah, again, let me know if you enjoy these, and maybe that's something you'll see sooner rather than later. Again, guys, thanks for tuning in, and stay tuned because we've got lots of stuff coming up on the channel. I've started working on the next Green Day episode. The next round of Patreon catch-ups is in the works too, so I don't know, guys, thanks for tuning in, and thank you again for your support, and thank you for watching the channel. Stay tuned, and hopefully you'll be seeing more stuff from me here in the very near future. Cheers!